You are seeing this live here right now as the integrity capsule is dashing down to touch down on Earth. Here right now as the integrity capsule is dashing down. The crew are gonna reach the first few trace of Earth's atmosphere pretty soon, and we know that they will separate from the integrity crew. They will so as it's splashing down, what we're having is that the integrity will separate from the European space module, and the remaining crew, the crew on board, will then splash down in the Pacific. And as you can see here, there's the crew in their spacesuit. They wore this spacesuit when they were taking off from the Kennedy Space Station, and they just got into these suits a few minutes ago, and they need this suit as they are returning into Earth. So first of all, I'm trying this out here and trying to make some sense as we're going along. But this has been a beautiful journey and a wonderful step for humanity here, because they are returning back from this epic journey, this epic trip, flyby on the moon. The Artemis 2 Orion spacecraft, which has been named the Integrity, is scheduled to touch down, or to splash down rather, on the Pacific Ocean today. Today is Friday, April 10th, the year 2026, at approximately 8 or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Which is equivalent to 7:07 Standard Central Time. And as you can see here, we are traveling somewhere around Mach 32 from what I'm made to understand. If you have watched the Martian 2015 movie directed by Ridley Scott and written by Andy Weir, which is a beautiful thing because Andy Weir also wrote the Hail Mary, which is airing in movies right now, showing in studios right now across the globe. And so if you watch that, you will learn that Mark Watney, who is Mark Wahlberg's character in that movie, passes out as he is dashing up to meet with the module, which was doing a flyby around Mars after they failed to meet over there. And so it is interesting that we now, change this case, because the crew of Integrity are going to face Mach 7.2, I'm meant to believe, a G-force, or rather G-force of 7.2 Gs, which is really extreme and intense. And it's interesting to see that, while they won't pass out, because in the case of Mark Watney, he passed out because he is faced by the forces there. And what we're seeing right now is the Pacific Ocean, where the crew of Integrity are going to be splashing down at approximately 8 or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is about 1 hour and 27 minutes from now. And there are recovery forces who are standby, waiting to recover the crew once they splash down on the Pacific. There are enough cameras around to make sure that we get a good view of everything that's going on, and so that we don't miss out on anything at all. If you look at the flight deck here, you will see the helicopters that are on the flight deck, and these helicopters, the two that are at the back, are going to be taking off to recover the crew once they touch down on the Pacific. There have been multiple teams who've been working hard to ensure that this team comes back home safely, and they've been doing an amazing job. And as you know, we have Commander Reed Wiseman, who's the commander of the flight, and Victor Glover is the pilot of the mission. And then we have two mission specialists. We have Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen. Interesting fact, Jeremy Hansen is a member of the Canadian Space Agency here in Canada, and the Canadian Space Agency has been very fundamental in ensuring that the space missions that are going on in collaboration across the globe are working out great. During this mission, it's interesting to note that the crew broke, one of the farthest distances that human has ever traveled from Earth, reaching over 400,000 kilometers from our planet, which hasn't been broken. So the record was first broken, I think, in Apollo 11 back in the year 19. Must have been 19. What year was that? I don't even remember. And of course, a similar feat hasn't been attempted by man. The last time we were close to the moon was in the year 1972 in Apollo 17. And that space program, the Apollo space program, was put to bed for a couple of years, and we're just going back now with, of course, different space agencies trying out this activity for themselves. And I think the Chinese taikonauts, which is their version of astronauts, are also trying this out, by themselves, and they are, doing this in their own way, which is amazing. But it'll be interesting to see how different space stations are participating, or space agencies are participating together in making this fruitful. I gotta be monitoring stuff here, but I'm not doing a good job at this. Okay, so let us make sure that this device, I gotta have like 4 screens around me. Okay. Oh, I gotta get a 5th screen. Come on. So I gotta make sure my microphone doesn't run out. So what I'm gonna do is I gotta find the USB-C cable to power my audio device. I gotta find one to power my audio device. Oh, interesting. My audio's been off the entire... Hopefully you guys could hear me. But let me do that real quick. Let me find a USB-C cable because I gotta power this interface. And just give me a couple of seconds, I'll be back, guys. Those wonderful folks are in the final view, in the final steps of their... Thank you for telling me that, as Paul. I didn't know that I was inaudible until a couple of seconds ago. We're gonna make sure that integrity touches down upright in the water, because if it touches down facing upside down, then recovery becomes difficult. And if you see the show that we aired, we showed that it is the vehicle remains upright by the support of the tanks that you see floating up there. This team a few seconds ago just made sure that everything is up and normal. They went around the ship to make sure that there's no air leaks anywhere. The way that these individuals comes out is by inflating a large raft in front of the front porch of the craft, and this enables the folks to come out that way to ensure that they can be recovered. They can be recovered safely. What you're seeing right now is an overview. I make to understand we have Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen, who are right in front of the camera, and then we have Victor Glover and Commander Reed Wiseman at the top. And these individuals have done what many of us will probably not get to do in our lifetime, or even if we were given 2 lifetimes. I was having a chat with a friend of mine and wondering, how does one become a member of any space agency, whether it's the European Space Agency, the Canadian Space Agency, the National Space Agency in America, or I'm not understand, I'm Kenyan by birth, and so we have a Kenyan Space Agency as well. But I was wondering, what is it exactly that one need before they can become a successful contender for the space of being an astronaut or a technonaut or a cosmonaut in Russia. And it is extreme. First of all, you gotta be born at the right time. because here in Canada, I think they recruit astronauts every couple of years, so it's not a continuous recruiting process. And so if you are not born in the right year, chances are you will miss out on being an astronaut just by the simple fact that you were born in the wrong year, because you'll be too old or too young when they're recruiting. Most of the time you're too old when they're recruiting, and then you can't qualify. If you're too young, then you gotta hope that the next time they're recruiting, you fall in the correct age group. So I have some audio that is playing here in the video that you're seeing in front of you. So I gotta figure out how to get you guys to see that audio as well. So I'm gonna take a quick second here to figure that out, because I haven't. Okay. So if I do that, that gives you the view of our now. That's good. Okay. So if that gives you that, then you're able to see the remaining time to Splashdown. You can see me, you can hear my commentary. So we gotta figure out this audio stuff. So let's figure out this audio. But so turn you off. Okay. So if we turn that off, Hames, how is it going? I'm still grappling with this tech here to make sure that you guys can hear the audio that is going on here as well. So I gotta share that audio. The Earth is growing larger in the field of view. Back there, as you can see. Back there, as you can see. Back there, as you can see. Back there. Okay. So I gotta figure this out. Come on, figure it out, man. So you guys don't have this audio. I want you guys to get this audio here. So how do I do that? Figure it out, buddy. Audio output. I don't want to get any audio output. So okay. What happened there? Okay, how to share my audio? Current sharing on stream. Let's figure this out. Share the screen with audio enabled. Share the screen. Turn share system audio. Okay, so I gotta make sure that I turned on share system audio. Okay, so how do I turn you off then? Screen share. Remove source. Yes. Mirror verification while sharing, yes. So but I need okay. But I gotta turn that off. Come on. I even got some audio playing in the background, man, that I want you guys to hear. But for some reason it's not coming out. So what's going on here, man? Get your music card, upload and play music on the stream. Yes, so I want this to be played on the stream. Settings, audio. Okay, I got that. Come on, man. So what is that's a demo. Okay. Okay. The overlay. Okay. Cool. How come you're not playing here? And we're not at the end. Come on. Okay. Cool. So I gotta figure this out. Okay, if you don't see share, the dispense on your browser, Google Chrome. Damn. Apparently I gotta switch to Chrome. Okay. Looks like I'm gonna have to end this stream and start it again. Okay, so let's do it over here because I was doing it from a different browser. How do we name this browser now? Come on. Stream. And I thought of doing this early on, but I ignored it. Okay. So if I go here, can it not just switch over here? Okay. So So if we were to do that, then I turn this off. Come here to the stage. Hey, I'm in backstage. Okay, so I gotta name myself first. Okay, there you go. I can turn you off like so, and turn you off too. Okay, cool. So we can restart Chrome. Okay. Everything remains. Okay. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm figuring out stuff as I go. But no worries. We are still at T minus 1 hour. Great. Great. Okay. So now I gotta figure something out here. I gotta turn off this audio, I guess. So now I'm probably we gotta figure you out. We gotta figure this out. We're passing this. How about now? Maybe this is better. Come on. Maybe this is working now. Hopefully it's working. Okay. Yes. Okay, that worked. So now we got to figure out how to get you the audio from NASA. So, a couple of things to figure out here as well.
Australia now, at an altitude of some 7,600 nautical miles. That will begin the southwest and northeasterly transit across the Pacific Ocean. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the highlights and some of the numbers associated with points of interest here. We are 27.5 minutes away from crew module, surface module separation. That will be followed about 3.5 minutes later by the raised burn that we've discussed, a 19-second burn of Integrity's thrusters to fine-tune its angle of attack as it enters the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface is scheduled 47.5 minutes from now. That's the point at which we will reach the top of the Earth's atmosphere, traveling at an altitude of 400,000 feet.
So, yes. Now looks like the audio is working. Nope. Not there yet. I will make it work. We'll figure it out. Come on.
Blackout period is expected to last 6 minutes in duration. At 6:54 seconds, Peter.
So there, yes. So gonna be sharing.
Communications with the crew. Capcom Jackie Mahaffey here in the flight control room.
Okay, so that's the only way it works. Okay, if that is the only way it works, that is simple.
Splashdown of just 147 nautical miles.
Got you.
From that point on,
so we turn that off.
The key series of events will be the deployment of a
Yes,
series of parachutes
cool.
that we discussed before. First, the forward bay cover chute deploy that will pull the forward bay cover away from the top of Integrity, followed by drogue chute deploy, and then the main chute deploy that's expected at 7:04 and 44 seconds p.m. Central Time. That will begin the gentle descent of Integrity towards its splashdown at just a velocity of just 19 miles an hour. And that will begin the recovery operations that you just heard Megan Cruz discuss with her folks on the USS John
So I gotta take seat 2 off.
All of Integrity
that
systems
way,
in great shape.
it's
The crew
only
is
me
suited up.
and the crew.
Complete as we stand by for the next major milestone, which will be the crew module
now, one
service
thing we gotta
module
figure out.
separation just 24.5 minutes from now. It's away from Splashdown.
Okay. Cool.
So with all of
those preparations ongoing. We can return here briefly for another report from the USS John P. Murtha and Megan Cruz. Megan? And we'll regain that communication with the USS John P. Murtha just momentarily. In the meantime, everything is on track aboard Integrity.
So if you're just joining us right now, this is a live stream of the Integrity touchdown on Earth after a beautiful trip around the moon. And these folks will be touching down in just under an hour at 8:07. They'll be splashing down in the Pacific Ocean. And I think it has been a wonderful milestone for man. Really, when you think about it, they have done about 400,000 kilometers from Earth, which is the last time someone did this was in the year 1972 in Apollo 17. And after Apollo 17, we probably thought that there was no need to go to the moon anymore, up until apparently the Taikonauts have decided to set up base in the southern pole, in the south pole of the moon. And suddenly we're like, hey, we should probably go back. And this mission has been made possible by Commander Reed Wiseman, Christina Koch, who was a mission specialist, together with Canadian Jeremy Hansen, who was mission specialist as well as Victor Glover, who was the pilot of the flight. Let's go over to the team here and just give them a listen to what they're saying.
Yes, commanding officer.
Yeah, absolutely. Every commanding officer, I would say really every naval service member, our priority is always safety. And as the commanding officer, I take that as one of my primary roles here on board. Mission accomplishment is important, safety always. So my day really has, I would say my message to the crew has sort of changed over the past 24 hours. As we're leading up to today, we've been building up the excitement and motivating the team for the training that we've executed. But really over the past 24 hours, now I'm trying to get us to slow down a little bit. Trust our training, right? Don't believe all the hype. Don't believe everything that's going on. Just let's trust what we've done to get to this point. And if we do that, we'll be successful today.
Mm-hmm. And also part of the big success is obviously the coordination between NASA and the U.S. military. How does it feel being able to support the human space program we have?
Yeah, I mean, since 1959 with Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, the history between NASA and the Navy has been in lockstep. But like any other skill, if you don't practice it regularly, that skill atrophies. So we've had a few decades off from that. But, over the past 4 or 5 years, really with this ship over the past year, we've constantly trained and working for this moment right here. Building up the hype, but to get to this point today, to be able to trust all the training we've done. We've worked with, working with NASA, the Air Force, the medical team, dive team. You want to talk about high-performance organizations coming together, working in unison? We are seeing that here on board the USS John P. Murtha, and I can't be more proud of the work everyone's doing.
Yeah, you had some great words this morning saying just that, again, that it's really nice to see everybody working together and so excited. I mean, you just became the commanding officer of this ship back in February. How does it personally feel for you to be a part of this historic moment today?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'd say any opportunity to command any warship in the United States Navy is a tremendous honor, is a pinnacle of any naval officer's career. That being said, as my change of command was approaching, and I realized that Artemis was going to be in the window here, to say that I'm humbled and honored to be here is an understatement. What really just excites me is the opportunity to see this crew, who has been training so hard over the past year plus, come together. It is what inspires me, listening to NASA and the ownership and pride they take. They make my crew better. I think we're making NASA better together. That synergy is something that I'm happy to see and hopefully take forward with me in my career.
Yeah, it's all
Speaking
about
there,
partnerships. You couldn't do it
you
without
are
you, and we couldn't have gotten to the moon
seeing
without our international
the
partner.
captain of the ship, or the command of the ship that is going to pick him up. His name, I'm made to understand, is Captain Eric Kenny. And this is aboard the USS John P. Martha, LPD 26, which is going to be picking up the crew of the Integrity after they touch down in the Pacific. A bunch of interesting things to think about the folks who are aboard this spacecraft. The pilot, you probably know him. His name is Victor Glover. So Victor Glover, black man, wonderful man with a whooping 7 degrees. Can you imagine? The guy has 4 undergrad degrees and 3 master's degrees. They are spread across military science as well as engineering. He was born in Pomona, California, and grew up, listen to this, he grew up in Ontario, California. People are waiting for me to say Ontario, Canada. Anyways, he's a pioneer of SpaceX because he happens to have piloted the first operational flight of SpaceX Crew Dragon. That was Resilience back in the year 2020. And if you've been following the story, you probably know that he has a Caribbean heritage. And because he's so smart, of course, having his 7 degrees, he goes by the moniker IKE, or Ike, or I know everything. And he has done a bunch of aviation trips as well. So a wonderful, intelligent fellow here. And fun fact, when John McCain was senator back in the year 2013, Victor Glover also served as a member of his staff. There is a bit of communication here. I'm just going to listen in as well.
And that exchange indicating that we are expecting to acquire data from the GPS system on board. That'll be a navigational tool that will basically tell Integrity's computers that they're on track down the center line of the corridor for the entry interface that will lead them to their splashdown point. Once again, the Artemis 1 entry exposed the heat shield for about 20 minutes of peak heating. For Artemis 2, we're going to reach a downtrack distance of 1,701 nautical miles from the point of entry interface, with just 14 minutes of duration. And it's basically a different angle of attack, a little bit steeper angle of attack that will protect the heat shield from excessive heat loads. So that is the difference between Artemis 1 and Artemis 2, all designed into this mission to gather data to protect the heat shield, since the Artemis 3 mission and beyond will have a different designed heat shield that will allow that skip entry type of profile to be resumed for all of the future missions coming back from the south pole of the moon when we initiate lunar landings.
Listening there to the voice of
so we've handed over
Robert
to the
Navius.
tracking and data relay satellite system. That's where we'll have
And
communications.
something interesting that he's explaining there, as the spacecraft is coming back, it enters the atmosphere of the Earth. Why did I suddenly go out of view? There you go. Once you enter the atmosphere of the Earth and moving at that speed, the friction that the spacecraft is experiencing makes it heat up so much. So they need some sort of heat shield around it, and different materials are used to provide the heat shield. But most importantly, something else that's going to happen is that we're going to lose communication with Integrity for about 6 minutes. And the reason why we're losing that communication is because the device is going to create a plasma around it. And this plasma is so thick that there can be no communication in between, before we come down to the proper temperature in which then we can be able to continue traveling down to our point of splashdown. Once again, welcome. You are watching, together with me, the return of our friends who just did a flyby the moon. This trip has been going on for about 9 days now. And 9 days into this trip, finally they're coming back home. They're going to be splashing down in the Pacific, a few kilometers off of Hawaii. And
from a quick burst,
I'm just going to turn on the communication here a little bit as we are listening in.
That will be a hot fire test prior to the separation of the crew module from the service module.
And you can see there right now,
the service module has,
capsule is about 5,000 miles away from point of splashdown and moving at about 15,000 miles per hour. Of course, we want to get them back here safely, and we have the crew
that has overseen the manufacturing, the design of the service module.
The ship,
they deserve quite a bit of credit
the
on this
USS John P. Martha, that's going to be collecting them once they splash down off of
and its astronauts toward the moon, but also conducting the fine-tuning of its trajectory to bring it to this point where we are dead spot on down the middle of the corridor trajectory-wise to bring Integrity down for its splashdown in the Pacific.
Going to take a quick break here
4 minutes from now.
as we are listening here and watching as our friends are coming back. And you see the speed is increasing a little bit there to about 16,000 miles per hour. Another interesting fact over here, something
what
that I
you're
learned
looking at is a computer-generated visualization based on real-time telemetry
recently.
from Integrity. Currently traveling about 16,000
Listen to the voice
miles
of
an hour.
Robert Navius there. And what you're looking at now is the crew or the ship Integrity, the ship,
Integrity
the
traveling about
USS John P.
16,000 miles
Martha,
an hour.
For the prop cautions, we're taking a look.
as they're gearing and getting ready to collect
Just
our
about
friends once they
5,100
splash
miles
down
from Earth.
off of the
Splashdown scheduled 43 minutes from now.
coast. And as
Just
you
9.5
heard
minutes away
John P.
from the
Martha
crew
just
module,
mentioned
service module
that
separation.
we are scheduled for about 43 minutes from now at 8 or 7 Eastern Standard Time, 7 or 7 Central Time. That's when Integrity will be splashing down.
We are confirming.
Integrity, we are assessing details, but so far looks like a good hot fire.
And the video that you're seeing right now is a computer visualization
Jackie Mahaffey
of
took the words out of my mouth. I was just about
where
to say
they are
that we
at,
had a good hot fire test
being
of the
a
thrusters
compilation
in
of the
advance of the crew
telemetry
module, service
of
module
the
separation that's coming up
multiple
just 8.5
systems
minutes
that
from
are
now.
aboard
This
Integrity.
will begin the period in which we will have rapid-fire succession of critical activities on board that will lead to entry interface just 28 minutes from now, where the vehicle will enter the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet. The time of entry interface, 6:53 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time.
Of course, this mission had a couple of firsts. Of course, we have Victor Glover there, the first black man close to the moon. We have Christina Koch as the first woman to leave low Earth orbit. But something interesting, Christina holds the record for doing the longest single space flight by a woman. She did this for 328 days on the International Space Station. And of course, she participated in the first historic all-female spacewalk in the years 2019 and the year 2020.
Officer now reports a good hot fire
yes, Natalie, this is happening.
For the crew module service
it is interesting, of course, as we see our friends coming back down. Christina also did something interesting in Africa. She went to the country of Ghana and studied astrophysics there, did a semester abroad.
And although we are not seeing GPS acquired yet, you can skip the troubleshooting.
I'm going to take a quick break here to make sure that I am running safely. I'm probably going to take a quick break to grab a cup of water and to also make sure that my system's running safely. Probably going to have to change the camera battery here as well.
Navigational data for integrity through the global positioning
we
system.
Can
equipment on board. We just don't have it yet, but we will. All of Integrity's systems are in great shape to support its high-speed entry into the Earth's atmosphere. It, once again, will reach a peak speed of 24,661.21 miles an hour.
Your call, GPS. We at least have GPS 1 looking good on board.
We are confirming.
Of course, what you're hearing there is the communication between folks on board, Integrity, as well as our friends in mission control back here on Earth. And the voice that you're hearing is that of Robert Navius.
Data rate communications link, so that we can talk to the crew inside Integrity as they are on the water.
Integrity, confirm we do see good GPS.
We do too, especially GPS 1 is accepting in nav channels 1 and 3.
That GPS data is basically telling Integrity's onboard computers its position relative to the Earth, but its trajectory and its orientation according to flight dynamics and the guidance, navigation, and control officer is spot on.
And of course, to add on to that, the way that we communicate with Integrity is by using two parallel systems. So we have a traditional radio wave system, and this is important for critical mission tasks. Then there's another system that enables high-speed data to travel between command and the craft. And this is by using a laser system. It's a revolutionary system there. We call it the laser broadband.
For CMSM set and go for CM raise.
And that is why we were able to see things like, ultra high definition video of, the moon or moon selfies that were taken there by the crew aboard Integrity.
Slight firing of 19 seconds by Integrity's thrusters with a change in velocity of 9.9 feet per second, a slight nudge of the aft end of the vehicle so that it's tilted a bit upward, providing the final angle of attack as the vehicle enters the Earth's atmosphere. This being the mitigating factor that will reduce heat loads on the heat shield as we reach a point downrange from the start of entry interface, some 1,701 nautical miles to the splashdown site.
And to explain what Robert Navius is saying here is that because the center of gravity of
Integrity systems in excellent shape.
The capsule integrity is offset, it doesn't fly naturally at 180 degrees, and that's what he's talking about, the angle of attack. And so in order to achieve the proper orientation, then they've got to fire those engines so that they can correct
cautions.
Correct its re-entry, correct its orientation, so that when it flashes down, it's flashing down
look to be
upward.
Set pretty tight. We think it could happen again when the thrusters fire in the future, so we are going to suppress those messages.
We concur with suppress, not inhibit. Thank you.
And the general recovery area of the capsule is going to be in San Diego, where we make sure that we harvest.
All integrity systems are in good shape.
Yeah, my daughter is giving me a moment here. I'm going to attend to her for a second.
Now, coming up on about 90 seconds till the crew module, service module separation.
We're going to have a separation, I believe, from the
all quiet here
European
in mission
module.
control as we enter the most critical phase of the completion of this flight. All of the preparatory
This is the most interesting part
to the
of
vehicle
this entire mission.
atmosphere just 21 minutes from now. Coming up on 1 minute. Mark 1 minute till crew module, service module separation.
As you heard there, the voice of Robert Navius, the crew module will be separating from the rest of the module. And this crew module is what houses the crew aboard the capsule, and it is the one that will be recovered. I see you, King.S8634. You can go ahead and subscribe to his YouTube channel, Ishoi Kingori, the director. I see you, Velma. Thank you.
And
right
we
there,
have
you can see the
confirmation of
separation.
crew module, service module separation. And a great view, albeit momentarily.
Houston, good step on board.
Houston copies and concurs.
The European service module now separated from Integrity, a job well done.
Integrity, no action for the 4 CDH cautions. Those are SM related, not applicable.
Integrity.
Why am I losing video here?
So, with Integrity now flying free on its own for the remaining 32 minutes of this mission, next up,
I have lost
the raise
video
burn,
here.
a 19-second firing.
But I'm happy
of
that you were able to
thrusters.
see
GPS 2.
that separation.
Integrity copies, get GPS 2.
Coming up on the 2-minute mark until the raise burn. Again, this is the final tweaking of the orientation of Integrity to put it in the right angle, if you will, the angle of attack that it will fly in during its entrance into the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface now just 18 minutes, 25 seconds away. This is a visualization, but driven by real-time telemetry. This is the maneuvering of integrity to the raise-burn orientation. Just 2,800 miles from Earth.
And what you're seeing there.
View of the European service module out the window with the sun hitting the side and the solar rays and the NASA worm right there. It's a beautiful looking machine.
Roger.
And we have completed the maneuver to the raise-burn orientation, 1 minute away from the raise-burn.
1 minute away from the raise burn. And the unit that just separated the European service module was the module that was providing the powering or the propulsion of the Orion spacecraft. And it is built by Airbus. So the crew will be staying in the cone-shaped capsule, the crew module that is attached on top of the European service module. We just separated right now. That's probably going to burn on re-entry. It's probably not going to be recovered. It has about 33 engines in total, and there's a large main engine. And I guess this is repurposed because it's part of the space shuttle, so that is recovered.
And the crew module,
but most of it is gonna burn away.
Second firing of the thrusters.
It also provided the unit that provided life support, so the unit that were providing the oxygen that they needed. It also carried about 240 kilograms of drinking water, which was needed by the crew of the space shuttle.
Integrity copies. Looks good on board, Jackie.
So the final maneuver is now complete. Our trajectory for a splashdown in the Pacific 29 minutes from now is set and will not be amended any further. And we have the right angle of attack to mitigate any excessive heat loads on the vehicle during entry interface.
Integrity Houston, a heads up about comm coverage. When you perform the 180 roll, for the first minute or so in that attitude, we expect about a minute LOS.
We copy.
And that's what they're talking about right now, because of that plasma shield that is created around the capsule as it's re-entering due to the heat.
So for those who are
and
watching,
for a few minutes there, you're going to lose communication.
Series of events coming up. We will enter the first traces of Earth's atmosphere 14 minutes, 45 seconds from now. 6:53 and 30 seconds is what is pegged for entry interface at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling at approximately 34,800 feet per second, range to touchdown or splashdown 1,701 nautical miles. 24 seconds after entry interface, we will enter a 6-minute blackout period in which we will lose communications with the crew. This is expected.
There'll be no communication with the crew
plasma
for
around
those
the
6
vehicle.
minutes.
That's an ionization effect due to the collision, if you will, of the velocity of the spacecraft with the friction of the Earth's atmosphere. That 6-minute blackout is expected to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time. During that period of time, we will reach our peak speed of 24,661 miles per hour. That comes just short, based on unofficial data from the flight dynamics officer right now, will come just short of the velocity record set by Apollo 10 of 24,791 miles per hour in 1969.
And that speed of 24,000 miles per hour converted to kilometers becomes about 40,000 kilometers, which is the escape velocity. So we match something similar to the escape velocity as we're coming back.
Above the Earth, traveling at 33,000 feet per second. The blackout period is expected to last 6 minutes. We expect that blackout period to end at 6:59 and 55 seconds p.m. Central Time.
When the blackout period will be going on by that time, the European service module is expected to have completely burnt out on re-entry, as you explained, due to the friction as it's meeting with the atmosphere here on Earth.
We see the same, waiting for the 180 rolls.
The parachute deployment sequence, once again, will come in several segments, but in rapid-fire succession.
And we have a great view of the moon out window 2. Looks a little smaller than yesterday.
And
Guess we'll have to go back.
of course, a bunch of facts about this mission. On April 6th, when this crew did their maneuver around the far side of the moon, they beat a record that has been set by Apollo.
Parachutes will be used to pull the forward
Must have been
cover
Apollo
off the top of the
11.
vehicle. Then two
the Apollo 13
parachutes will
mission.
be deployed
Apollo
to
13
slow
mission
and
in
stabilize the
1970.
crew module during its descent.
And of course, there's a bunch of firsts here, like we say, first woman, Christina Koch, person of color, Victor Glover, and U.S. citizen, so Jeremy Hansen there of Canada's space agency, to travel below. These are a bunch of facts, beyond the low Earth orbit. And something interesting also about Commander Reed Wiseman. He has also become the oldest person to do so at the age of 50. So when you think about it, each of these individuals break a certain first about the different missions that are being carried out collaboratively by different space agencies across the world.
Our trajectory is right on according to flight
and
dynamics.
If you remember on the second day, a bunch of things that happened there. On the second day, we had a malfunction. We had a malfunction of the toilet. And Christina Koch there, mission specialist, and Monica for the space plumber, because she was able to take care of that. And if you saw the photos of the urine as it's being expelled from the capsule, it was trickling by as round balls of or round marbles as they were floating away in space.
Range to touchdown 4,300 nautical miles, all the systems in excellent shape.
Integrity, Orion in the EI roll 180 attitude.
Let's go on board, Jackie.
This view out of one of Integrity's windows. We had a call for 3 good barrows. Those are barometric pressure sensors that feed altitude and rate of descent information to Integrity's computers that will trigger the parachute deployment sequence.
Yeah, and as you can see, there are a bunch of things that have happened so far. If you just joined us, this is the Splashdown live stream of the Integrity space capsule of the Orion. This the splashdown of the Artemis 2 mission, which is a flyby of the moon by NASA. We have three scientists on board, three astronauts on board from the National Space Agency of America, as well as one Canadian Space Agency astronaut, Jeremy Hansen. Each of these have a couple of firsts, but some of the things that are happening right now. About 10 minutes ago at 7:33, we had 7:33 Eastern Standard Time. We had a separation of the European Service Module. The European Service Module was the heart of this entire mission because it provided the propulsion that was needed with its 33 engines. It also provided the water and the oxygen and a bunch of things that were being utilized by the members of the crew of this mission. As we're hitting the atmosphere shortly in about 10 minutes at 7:53, about 7 minutes, we'll be entering the atmosphere at about 40,000 kilometers per hour, similar speed to escape velocity. And fun fact, that is 33 times faster than the speed of sound. What is the speed of sound? Got you there.
Is complete. Crew and vehicle are configured for entry.
The temperature outside the capsule is going to spike on the upwards of 2,700 degrees Celsius. And what's going to happen is that we're going to have a dark moment there where there'll be no communication between us here on Earth and integrity. But after 6 minutes, you know, these folks will be truly alone, but they will resume communication with us and we'll be together. At about 8:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 5:03 Pacific Time,
and Houston,
the chutes will be released, and shortly we'll be having touchdown or splashdown rather. There's 3 massive main parachutes and one
integrity
and any second now we will be seeing them being released at about 5:03 p.m. Pacific time. This will slow down the capsule by a bunch of several magnitudes and enable the capsule to slow down as it's splashing down at about 20 miles per hour or about 32 kilometers per hour.
Traveling about 34,882 feet per second, range
in the Pacific.
Splashdown at that point will be 1,701 nautical miles.
I had a bunch of nice images that were taken in space that I want to share with you, but
and once again, just a reminder,
my device
some 24
is
seconds after entry interface, we do expect to lose communications with the vehicle and the crew during a 6-minute blackout period when a plasma shield will build up around the spacecraft due to the ionization, due to heating effects. And Flight Dynamics has just confirmed we will have a blackout period of exactly 6 minutes in duration. And once again, that's due to the fact that a plasma buildup around the vehicle will prevent communications and data, so we will not be able to talk to the crew members at that time, nor will we receive data here in the flight control room.
Everything is looking good on board. Just confirm no pre-EI downloads.
Houston concurs.
That blackout period to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time, and again will last about 6 minutes in duration.
And for a second there we can share this photo of this individuals as they are plummeting to Earth. These are the wonderful gentlemen and lady who have decided to take a trip around the moon and back to Earth. We can see there Commander Reese White or Reed Wiseman, Christina Koch, Jeremy Hansen, and Victor Glover. Victor Glover being the pilot of this mission.
This view from Integrity as it crosses from southwest to northeast across the Pacific Ocean, 3 minutes from entry interface.
It's
16.5 minutes till splashdown.
Very interesting. You know, the amazing things that we can now do.
USS John P. Murtha and the recovery team is on station and in position, as are the airborne imagery assets that we hope to receive imagery from as Artemis enters the Earth's atmosphere and through parachute deployment.
We will be entering the atmosphere anytime now, when that communication will momentarily disappear.
All of Integrity's systems are in great shape. The crew is ready to,
and as you can hear there,
complete its mission.
The voice of Robert Navius announcing how
the activities today have gone
the
in perfect fashion.
all
No
systems
issues
are
with the
functioning
vehicle, no issues with the crew,
well.
and the weather at the splashdown site is go.
And like you heard, the weather at the Splash Center is go. When you think about it, this is going to be one of the greatest achievements of man that will go down history books for many years. You know, thinking about the many firsts that we mentioned here, the fact that, you know, each of the crew members of Integrity, you know, has made a certain first. So we say Jeremy Hansen is the first Canadian who has traveled to the moon. We've talked about Victor Glover, the black man, to leave low Earth orbit. We've talked about the commander of the mission, Commander Reed Wiseman, being the oldest
1 minute,
to
20 seconds until the
do a mission like this, as well as
Integrity, 1 minute to a 6
you
minute
know,
blackout.
Jeremy Hansen, and Christina Koch rather, being the first woman
Integrity.
to do this as well. Anytime now, we're at 7:53. So at 7:53, we are expecting the re-entry of the capsule into the atmosphere, and this is when we're going to experience the blackout anytime now, because of that plasma shield that is created around the capsule and, you know, stopping us from seeing it. So about 5 seconds now. I think I gotta make this.
And we have crossed the threshold, now entering the Earth's atmosphere. We're at 400,000 feet, traveling 34,800 feet per second.
We are leaving space now, folks. We are re-entering the atmosphere of the Earth. We are re-entering
13 minutes, 10 seconds.
our atmosphere. And like you heard there, my colleague saying, we have about 13 minutes. Look at me calling him my colleague. 13 seconds to go. And there you go.
And as predicted,
Blackout.
we've entered our communications blackout.
Communications blackout.
This will be a 6-minute blackout period. No voice, no data from the crew.
But we know that they are safe, even if we are not receiving any data or any
We're 30 seconds away
communication from them, any data from them. We know that they are safe. And this is going to be going on for about 6 minutes.
Rise to about 4,000 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the true test of our trajectory.
That temperature rising to 2,700 degrees centigrade for the folks who don't speak
And
Fahrenheit,
from, the
just
G5
like me.
aircraft in the vicinity of the splashdown zone, this view of integrity. So
Uh,
that pinpoint of light shows the vehicle as it enters the period of peak heating in the Earth's atmosphere, the first tug of gravity being felt by Integrity's astronauts since their launch back on April 1st.
and this would not have been, there would not have been a better weekend than this. When you think about
time to splash down, 11 minutes, 33 seconds.
You know, when you think about the fact that these individuals will be experiencing 3.9 Gs, this is enough to probably make you pass out. But I guess when you are trained for this, you probably do better. 3.9 Gs, which is basically you will feel your weight 4 times as you press down into yourself. You know, you're feeling your weight. Yes, Mosedi Micah, Fly Me to the Moon.
Landing and support officer reports
the movie.
That the P3
I can see you,
acquisition on Integrity.
Young and gifted, my friend from the city of London, beautiful city of London. Thanks for being out here.
3.5 minutes left in this blackout period. This is a visualization of
the maximum load that these individuals are going to be experiencing is going to go up to 7.5 G, and you can see it there as it's I'm not sure if these are visualization created by a computer for you to see it. And the folks out in San Diego can probably tell us, or folks with some telescopes can tell us, you know, what that experience is like. And maybe I can pull up one of those
Flight Dynamics reports that airborne assets in the vicinity of the splashdown zone do have a visual on Integrity. Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in our blackout period. Time to splash down, 9 minutes, 35 seconds.
In 9 minutes, 35 seconds, we shall be home. Therapist KE. Thanks for the shout out, buddy.
All have visuals on Integrity.
But this is one of, you know, those once in a lifetime events that is probably going to be experienced more since now we're back in the space race, you know, with the Checkanauts of China, you know, when it set up their wonderful space station in the south pole of the moon, and the Checkanauts also launching their missions to Mars. Of course, we have the missions to Mars.
We're still in the blackout period,
which are basically competing with you know, the competition between the rest of the world as well as you know, China. And China has done something interesting. China has set up an agreement with Roscosmos. You know, Roscosmos being Russia's, maybe it's not called Roscosmos anymore, but this is Russia's space program, you know, with their astronauts being called cosmonauts and the Chinese astronauts being called taikonauts, and American, Canadian, I guess the rest of the world astronauts called astronauts. It's interesting, you know, when you think about how much geopolitics plays in this. You know, something interesting, you know, the way we treat international waters as being, you know, in maritime law, international waters is basically no man's land. It's international waters. There's a similar argument
we are now
out in space.
Data from Integrity.
So if you set up base on the moon, the presence of your base can be accounted for as belonging to your country. But anywhere outside that space
Landing
becomes
support officer reports the small boats are en route to the
international
Splashdown
waters.
target zone.
Interesting how all these folks come up with this, agreements. I believe now we are at about 6 minutes to splashdown. And I just want to share with you another photo here of our astronauts just before they...
Passing through 150,000 feet, our trajectory is perfect. We're getting intermittent views.
They boarded.
Of Integrity. Still
and you can see Integrity, we're just regaining communication with Integrity there.
Integrity, Houston, comm check, post blackout.
And you heard the voice of Christina Koch reporting to Capcom in Houston and checking that comms are working.
No action for
and you can see
camera controller fail.
Our astronauts there, joined by their colleagues in front of,
voice communication
you know,
with Commander Reed Wiseman.
The Orion, the space capsule that took them to the moon and the flyby for the Artemis 2 mission.
Passing 100,000 feet now. Range to splashdown 19 nautical miles.
Range to splashdown 19 miles. You know, I probably gotta do that just so we don't miss out on. Just gonna turn this off. That way we can bring me, yours truly, Joe Abogato, and our crew as they are, you know, coming back. And in about 4.5 minutes, this capsule
and a view of Integrity from the WB-57
will be
we're at 50,000 feet.
Splashdown on Earth, on the Pacific. And splashdown is planned for 8 or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 5 or 7
the pyros
Pacific
are
time.
For forward bay cover jettison.
And you can see it coming down there, folks. Aboard the Integrity capsule are our friends Christina Koch, mission specialist. You can see the parachutes,
and there go the first
the
series
chutes
of
just
and we're on drogues.
deployed there, and these are gonna slow down
Visual 2 drogues out the window.
our capsule so that it can touch down
Next up,
at 20 miles per hour.
Next up, the deployment of pilot parachutes that will pull the main chutes out. Time to splash down 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
3 minutes and 8 seconds, 7 seconds now to touchdown.
Perfect descent rate according to flight dynamics.
Good rates on 2 drogues.
We see the same on board.
And you can see multiple angles there to give us a good view.
Still on drogues.
And of course, the crew of the ship that is collecting these individuals is also waiting to collect them once they once they touch down,
We're
once
at
they
5,000
splash down.
feet.
And as you can see, the
Search and
pilot
recovery beacon
chutes
has
are
been
now out,
activated on integrity,
and these are going to pilot
and we have 3
The-
good main chutes.
capsule
Good 3 main chutes, good reefing, good descent rate.
within
Good-looking parachutes.
where we want the capsule to touch down. And like you heard the voice of Robert Navius there say, we are at a good descent rate.
Integrity. Cabin pressure indicates no need for hydrazine checks.
No need for hydrazine. Hydrazine being
This is a perfect descent for integrity. It's good
a
sounding. Hale and Hardy on board. Time to splash down 1 minute 15 seconds.
highly toxic fuel that will be used to launch thrusters that will guide
Integrity
the
about to complete a journey,
capsule during
spending
re-entry. And as you heard Christina Koch reporting there, we have no
from
need
its
for
launch
hydrazine
from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st.
or for those
and a trip around the moon.
thrusters. And the USS, the United States ship, John P. Martha, is the primary recovery ship for today's splashdown. It is a joint
Passing through
U.S.
1,000
Navy
feet.
NASA operation and is stationed in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego, where they're being collected from. And of course, the commanding officer of this ship is Captain Eric Kenny. And you heard him earlier on in this live stream where he was speaking there with reporters who are on scene. And of course, once our crew splashes down anytime now, because we are at 8:07 p.m., after the capsule hits the water,
Integrity splashdown, sending post-landing command now.
Splashdown confirmed.
Splashdown confirmed.
Splashdown confirmed at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time.
And
From the pages
8:07
of Jules Verne
Eastern
to a modern-day mission
time.
to the moon, a new chapter of the exploration of our
And we can
celestial
give a
neighbor is
clap.
complete. Integrity's astronauts
We are
back on
back.
Earth.
We are back on Earth, folks. And of course, the sequence there, after, splashdown, the recovery ship
And
is
the
going to
landing
remain
and support
about
officer
1 to
reports
2
the vehicle is
miles
stable 1.
while the Navy
Still
divers
will be
conduct
deploying
a
the
hazard
modular
assessment, of
operating
course, to make
system
sure
to
that there's
maintain
been
that
no
orientation.
hydrogen leak.
A perfect
And
bullseye
then there'll be
splashdown
stabilization.
for
The
Integrity
front
and its
porch,
4
like I said
astronauts.
earlier, it's going to open. And once that clears, the front porch will open alongside the side hatch, which become the extraction platform. And then the crew will be extracted, and then they'll be carried, all four will be carried on the front porch on 2 MH602, or rather 60S Seahawk helicopters. And they'll be
The
airlifting them
unofficial,
to the
splashdown
USS
time,
John P. Martha.
7:07
And once
47
they are on
seconds
board, they
PM
will
Central
receive
Time.
the
We'll get
necessary
that
care.
refined for
And
you.
later,
That
our
would,
capsule,
put, the end of the mission
the
and a mission
Integrity,
elapsed time of 9
will
days,
be
1 hour, 31
retrieved.
minutes, 35 seconds.
what an incredible
And
time to be alive.
Data rate.
What an incredible time to be alive, folks. Yes, Afua. This is
Once
incredible.
again,
Thinking
splashdown
about the
occurring
amount of time that
in the
goes
Pacific,
into making this
south,
possible,
southwest
the amount
of
of
San Diego
engineering, the
at
amount
7:07
of
and 47
thought
seconds
process, the
PM.
amount of physics.
Integrity Houston.
The amount of
contact on
astrophysics.
TLDR.
I missed what Christina Koch said there,
Houston,
but
we have you loud and clear on VLDR, how else?
I believe
We have you
they are
we'll
reporting
meet you over in post-landing.
to be happy.
Perfect communications established.
A journey. We are stable 1, 4 green crew members.
Houston copies all.
Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members. That is not their complexion. That is the fact that they're in great condition. That's what that means.
Did you hear that?
One upright, the crew module uprighting system is being deployed. The 5 airbags being inflated through helium to maintain the upright configuration for the vehicle. This was a textbook entry and a textbook touchdown for Integrity. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen back on Earth after a journey around the moon.
Wow. Just wow. Seeing these folks, leave Earth, fly to the moon, and then, come back all in one piece is just awesome. And you can see our capsule there floating. And this, whatever you're seeing in the foreground right now, that is the United States ship USS John P. Martha, commanded by Eric Kenny.
To monitor the functioning of the CMOOS system. The airbags are being inflated to maintain a stable 1 or upright configuration. And there's a good view from one of the naval helicopters hovering overhead. Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members, meaning they're all in excellent shape.
They are all in excellent shape. I know you've been listening to my music there. It was just meant to
Integrity Houston for SAR Beacon and radio.
Give you guys a fair
SAR Beacon is in for and we're powering the radio now.
a smooth sail.
We see the beacon
Because
on.
communication
However,
between
the recovery team is not
Houston
the
and the system that they're using to
Your SAR
stream,
radio
the
uses
NASA system that they're
same
streaming,
antenna, so you may
sometimes
run into trouble with the
is
radio.
not working well. And so I had to make sure that I have something to probably cover my base if I'm not able to continuously, provide this safely.
So Integrity is in great shape. And as the crew continues its post-splashdown timelined activities on board, Reed Wiseman once again reporting.
I can't tell if I was live on Facebook, guys. I can see that my system tells me I'm live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, but I can't tell for sure if I'm on Facebook.
The recovery team,
but if you are there, thank you very much. I can see Arthur Bridget, Elvis the Brand,
while here in the flight control room, entry flight director
and everybody else who's been on this stream before. I think I've had about 30 people on this stream. Instagram has had a bunch of more, probably 100 folks here listening to me blabber as I share my experience
to be
of
concerned about.
this
so
guy's
personnel
coming
can
back
approach the vehicle,
to Earth.
but not until
Yes,
we
we
have
know some
powered
guys.
down the spacecraft. That's expected to take a few more minutes. Integrity back on Earth, following its historic flyby of the moon. It was, for all intents and purposes, a textbook mission.
On 28, but I'll remain on this frequency.
We copy.
And I was just thinking about it, what the eligibility to join the Canadian Space Agency would be like, you know, as an astronaut, of course, leave alone being picked for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity like this, you know, doing a flyby of the moon. You know, after reading the book by Commander Chris Hadley, who will hopefully be on the Couch Connect as a guest soon, I came to realize that it's almost impossible for you to, maybe impossible is not the word. The chance of you being chosen as a member of any of these space agencies is 8 in 45,000, which is basically 1 in 45,000 rather.
Integrity, Houston did not call.
Which is almost hard. Can you imagine, for one position, 50,000 folks are going to apply, and these are 50,000 highly qualified individuals. 50,000 highly qualified individuals. When you think about it,
all of the milestones were executed in perfect fashion.
Very interesting.
Integrity,
one of my systems here is going off. Just give me a second, guys, to make sure that
reaching its peak speed.
I can bring it back on.
Shortly after a blackout period began, we emerged from the blackout period, but the recovery.
You can see the Integrity
were able to pick up Integrity's
space capsule after splashdown,
tracking the vehicle all the way down. And finally, you saw the sequence of chute deployments. First, the forward bay cover being pulled off the top of the vehicle by a series of 3 parachutes. Then the drogue chutes were
just going to share another photo
deployed
here
the 3 main chutes
of
that slowed the splashdown.
There's 3 gentlemen and 1 lady as they took this journey to space. Okay, so I don't have this. Something must have happened here. I lost my seat. Okay, in order to bring back this seat, what do I do? I gotta come over here. And okay.
Integrity, Houston.
I see what happened.
With no joy on SAR and SAT phone, we'd like you to command an additional 15 minutes for a total of 30-minute power down delay.
All right. So it looks like we gotta turn that off. And I gotta give you this photo.
And stand by, we have the master diver on SAR radio. Please hold comms.
Hey Lily, excuse me, hey Jackie, we just got the master diver on SAR.
And you can trust me, across the globe, there are multiple teams of people watching closely to see, you know, whatever is going on.
If you are happy with your comm with Master Diver, you can go back to the 15-minute power down.
Okay, stand by. Yeah, we'll confirm here in a second.
The crew on board Integrity coordinating with the flight control team in Houston here in Mission Control on the timing of the power down of the vehicle, which will be the precursor to the recovery teams approaching the spacecraft. There are no issues with Integrity. We've had a bit of broken capability in establishing a SARSAT or satellite phone communications.
But when you think about it,
between the crew on board and
when you fly
and,
by the moon,
team, that will get sorted out here shortly.
What does that make you think about our abilities as human, how much faith in humanity does this leave you with?
Concur. We haven't had anything.
How much faith in the abilities of humans does this leave with? When you think about it, the fact that we can, bring together $20 billion, a whopping $20 billion, and fly people to the moon, it means that we are more than capable to solve the many challenges that we have here on Earth.
It does not appear as though they are hearing us.
And sometimes I wonder, what would it need for us to want to spend our money or our time or our efforts to give other folks out there an amazing experience? Food for thought.
So as we continue to sort out the communications between Integrity and the recovery teams, we are standing by for the initiation of the power down procedures.
Sema.
That, as you see, the recovery.
My daughter is here. She's also experiencing this momentous experience as humanity is coming back from a flyby of the farthest region of the moon, the region of the moon that faces away from Earth.
Integrity Houston, for sat phone, we are going to attempt to call you.
Good idea, standing by.
And Jackie, yes, we are pushing the push to talk, the two buttons on the left side of the radio below the up-down arrows. We are utilizing them. I'm rebooting the radio to see if we get good comms.
Okay, we copy all, and just to confirm, you are seeing that you are touchdown plus 3030 for power, correct?
That's affirmative.
And I'm going to take another attempt here to show you another amazing photo of these folks. For some reason, I've suddenly been locked out of my multimedia access. Just gonna attempt to regain my multimedia access to the Artemis mission.
This is all part of the coordination for the power down of the vehicle that will initiate the actual recovery operation. The first boats with the Navy divers on board are standing by, waiting to close in on Integrity to begin the process of erecting the large inflatable raft that's called the front porch that will be where the astronauts are extracted from so that they can have a few minutes to get their land legs back before they're hoisted aboard the Navy helicopters for the flight back to the deck of the USS John Murphy.
It's an amazing experience here, sharing this moment with my daughter.
And Houston, please don't reply. NRD, very weak, but readable. Master diver, we can hear, but they cannot hear us.
So, as you can hear there, the crew reporting that they can be heard. Just want to share this other photo of you here. You being Earth. And you can see I have my multimedia access back. And you can see there this photo of the farthest side of the moon. And on the right of that, right there, you can see
Houston,
our planet.
On OE1, is there any chance to tie us into NRD?
Sometimes I wonder, what do you think about when you see this? What do you think about, what's your place
Checking.
on Earth as a human? Your abilities as a human. What do you think about them? But like I said earlier, of course, the teamwork and reasoning that has gone into this, the communication, the ability to bring all these folks together to create this amazing experience and milestone for humanity is amazing.
Standing by very close to the spacecraft. We're going to go to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha, where Megan Cruz is standing by with Administrator Jared Isaacman.
I'm also going to switch to General Jared Isaacman here on the USS John P. Murtha, so that we can hear
this moment with everyone together, and of course, as you
out
just said,
and experience this moment with them.
Administrator Jared Isaacman. Administrator, how did you feel getting to witness this and seeing NASA at its best?
Oh, I mean, I'm honestly, I'm still at a loss for words. I mean, like the childhood Jared right now can't believe what I just saw. I mean, almost been waiting my whole lifetime to see this, and then it's NASA Administrator. I just couldn't be more proud of the entire workforce, the years, the effort, the late nights, all the hard work from across the country that contributed to this incredible moment right now. And yeah, incredibly grateful too for our teams here on the John P. Murtha right now.
Yeah, look at the vibe
I mean, we've
here.
got everybody. What do you guys think? We just brought some astronauts back from the moon, huh? Unbelievable. Thank you. Yeah, so grateful to the Navy, the sailors that are here, the NASA teams. I mean, this is a joint effort that's on their way right now. These recovery forces are getting out to our Orion spacecraft, to Integrity, to get our astronauts back on the ship safely.
Yeah, and this is not just an accomplishment for NASA. This is an accomplishment for humanity. Again, a historic mission to the moon and back. How did this make you feel?
As they're reporting a historic mission to the moon and back. And I think it is experiences like this that point out to the greatness of the abilities of man.
From humanity to the stars that we sent out there right now, and I can't imagine a better crew than the Artemis 2 crew that just completed a perfect mission right now. So yes, it's a huge moment for everybody, right? I mean, we are back in the business of sending astronauts to the moon, bringing them back safely, and to set up for a series more. I mean, this is not a once in a lifetime, which you hear sometimes around here. It's like, this was a once in a lifetime. No, it's not. This is just the beginning. We are going to get back into doing this with frequency, sending missions to the moon until we land on it in 2028 and start building our base.
Yeah, are we going to build on the momentum for Artemis 3? I mean, it's just around the corner.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's, part of me too. I can't wait to get the crew off of Integrity right now, but also getting Integrity back on this ship so we can start taking a look at it, because all that data is so precious to us right now. I mean, we are going to definitely want to take a good look at the thermal.
And of course, as he's talking about the data here, there's lots of data that is collected here on the moon, or of course on this journey to the moon. Before we are able to send rather, crewed missions to the moon with humans, we got to test them out. And so Artemis 1 was the first mission to the moon, and the Orion space capsule as well, a different capsule, of course, went up there, and it did a flyby the moon. So basically did the same thing that the crew aboard Integrity did, and it collected useful data that would inform the folks who are going to go out there, the effects that were going to be felt on them. And of course, the data that came back say that it was safe for a crewed mission to be carried out, and that's when we carried out the Artemis 2 crewed mission. And so once this flyby has happened now, as we've been able to collect some data as well. So I am a tissue engineer, and what I do for my work is I basically create human tissue in the lab. And part of what this crew was doing is they carried with them pieces of tissue to the moon, to into deep space, and you want to see what effects things like radiation in deep space has on tissues or has on on human cells. And so experiences like this inform us of what the future missions are going to be like. Of course, the Apollo missions, which were Apollo 1 through Apollo 17 in 1972, is when we went to the moon the last time. And of course now Artemis, as we launch this, is a relaunch of this project. And something interesting, Artemis and Apollo are twin sisters in some Roman goddess sort of situation mythology thing. And it sort of informs you, where, some of these names are coming from. And now, of course, a bunch of things also that we've learned up here is the endurance of man. Can you imagine being trapped with 3 other individuals in a small size, the size of 2 minivans for 10 days? I know some of us probably can't even spend a handful of minutes with our friends. So the fact that this folks have been able to spend 10 days stuck in a small space, speaks to the psychological endurance of our abilities. And of course, there is inspiration here. A kid somewhere can be inspired today that they can also go to space. Commander Hartley speaks about this in his book, where he says that when Buzz Aldrin stepped on the moon, and Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon, and of course with the Michael Collins left in the orbital module, the lunar module orbiting the moon. He speaks to his experience when they were taking off from the Kennedy Space Station in the year 1969, and how that inspires him to become an astronaut. And so I also believe that this experience by these 4 crew members also becomes inspiration for future astronauts. I was having a chat with my daughter earlier today. I don't know if my daughter is gonna be interested in traveling to space or Mars or anything else. And when you think about all these experiences, just amazing. If you haven't watched it yet, sometimes we take this for granted. The fact that these 4 crew members went to space and came back, and it seemed, like a smooth sail. We can take that for granted and think that that's what happens all the time. I think it was the year 1970. Apollo 13 was a crewed mission to the moon. These folks are going to walk on the moon. But, something happened and they weren't able to get to the moon. But luckily, we brought them back safely. And I think this has been adapted in a movie. I think it's also named Apollo 13. It's a 1995 movie. You can go check it out. But of course, there have been many other movies. Fly Me to the Moon. I saw that here in the chat in the chat as well. Fly Me to the Moon being an amazing movie. A bunch of other movies that I think about that inspire my interest in space. I think a good one is The Martian. The Martian, written by Andy Weir. And Andy Weir also wrote the the movie that was released recently, Hail Mary. I haven't watched Hail Mary yet, but I have witnessed Andy Weir's speeches, and he speaks as lively as he writes. But to circle back here to our abilities as humans and our outlook into space and into what space is and what the heavens are and what the heavens are you inspired to think about celestial beings? So we think about aliens, for instance. So what would happen if you met an alien? Better yet, what would happen if you bumped into an angel? Can you imagine? This crew is flying to the moon, and out of nowhere, an angel zooms past them. And which, sometimes I'm thinking about it and I'm like, so when you think about space, so in space, as we know, we don't have an atmosphere there. So there's no oxygen, breathable oxygen that you can breathe in. Of course, our atmosphere here on Earth is 70% nitrogen, about 20% oxygen. And we breathe in the entire atmosphere, but are able to extract the 20% oxygen in order to enable our metabolic activity to go on in our bodies. But think about it in space. There's no atmosphere, no oxygen. So if there's no oxygen, how do angels breathe? What do angels breathe? If they're flying about in space, that is. And when you think about celestial beings, Christians who are here, you can think about folks like I think Enoch went to heaven. There's another individual. What's his name? His name Elijah, I think, on a chariot of fire, and he also flew to heaven. So heaven is in space in my imagination. So when I think about it this way, what is Elijah breathing when he's in heaven? Or maybe in heaven you don't need oxygen, which goes on to inform how the interpretation of the Bible by man is sometimes it is deeper, way deeper than we probably understand it. Let's go back here to our crew and listen in for a moment. Oh, they are also quiet here, but you can see
this is Mission Control Houston.
After
talking to
the MH-60Ss there that are going to recover our crew.
Splashdown time for you. Their computation shows a splashdown time of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time.
The MH-60Ss there that are going to recover our crew.
That would equate to a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds.
I missed that. How many days did it take?
Once again, from Flight Dynamics, a splashdown time of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time.
9 days, 1 hour,
to a mission elapsed time of
31 minutes and 35 seconds from liftoff to splashdown. What a human story. Speaks to the endurance of man. And of course, the global unity. We see different space agencies coming together to execute this. We had the European Space Agency. We had NASA. We had the Canadian Space Agency. And of course, the many things that the Canadian Space Agency and the European Space Agency has contributed to, making space exploration possible. And of course, if you're interested, you can, check out earlier launches. So we have Voyager 2, which was launched earlier than Voyager 1, but again, Voyager 1 right now, it's a space probe, is farther than Voyager 2.
We have handed over mission authority to the exploration ground systems. How many kilometers away it is?
I think how far is Voyager 1? Let's see. Voyager 1, I think it's 15 billion.
Until that,
yeah, 25 billion kilometers. Oh, yes. I was correct. So it's 15 billion miles away from Earth. It's about 25 billion kilometers away from Earth. And we are able to get some sort of signal from them.
For 2 crew members for each helicopter, they'll be hoisted.
And when you think about it, a radio signal takes about 23 hours or 24 hours to get, from there to here. And so I think it speaks to the amazing abilities that space exploration has made possible for us to experience. Jeff Shungo, I see you there. Raising me up to 9. I have no idea though what 9 is. You gotta remind me what I was talking about. I probably forgot about it. Yeah, but this is so cool, man. Being alive at this time to witness this. So this computer keeps dying, or rather sleeping, and when it sleeps, I sort of miss out on sharing stuff with you guys. But let's see. Can I share this? No, I can't. So I can. Okay. Let us see if I. So do I gotta share again? This has been a beautiful experience. You can see the crew members of Integrity, the name that was given to the Orion space capsule of the Artemis 2 mission by the crew members of Integrity. And like I said earlier, this is really, really inspirational, man. It speaks about our abilities as humans, our ability as men, and what we're able to achieve. Not only when we put our mind to it, but also when conditions are set and made possible for us to achieve something.
Of the Artemis crew aboard Integrity. All of the Navy divers and the fast boats are now approaching the spacecraft after conducting a hazard assessment. The vehicle has been powered down. Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling now waiting for the life raft, the front porch, to be erected along the side of the vehicle so that the hatch can be opened and the crew members extracted from Integrity, soon to be hoisted.
The front porch is going to be, the front porch is the life raft that will the members of this crew will be retrieved on,
touchdown time
and
or splashdown time, as it were, of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m.
This
Central
will
Time,
enable
5:07 and 27 seconds p.m.
the
Pacific time.
crew members
That would equate
then
to a
to
mission
be
elapsed time of
retrieved
9 days, 1 hour, 32
and
minutes,
taken
and 15
to
seconds.
the USS John P. Martha, that is meant to provide the initial assessment of our crew. And earlier on there, you saw the live stream team speaking to the lead planner of the Artemis recovery mission, Colonel Christopher Wynn. And he couldn't hide his joy. He couldn't hide his ecstatic award, his ecstatic outlook when he was thinking about the fact that these individuals have come back safely. The crew members, if you're just joining us, this is a live stream of the recovery or the splashdown of the Artemis crew who are aboard the space capsule Integrity. The capsule touched down at 5:07 p.m. about 40 minutes ago in San Diego, and they've just been recovered. Rather, they're on path to being recovered right now. We did hear that they did a quick assessment of the safety or if there was any leakage, and there's been confirmation that there was no leakage, and therefore it is safe for them to be retrieved from the capsule. And the recovery is gonna happen by the front porch, which the front porch is a name that has been given to an inflatable raft that will be attached to the Orion space capsule, and this will enable the members then to disembark
from the imagery
and
assets
be
out at sea in the Pacific
retrieved
We
from the space
get
capsule.
Reports from the landing and support officer, who's in contact with the recovery team, that the crew is in excellent shape, no issues. They're just currently biding their time, waiting for the front porch to be erected. We have no hazardous hazard gases and no hazardous situation with the vehicle. It performed perfectly.
Of course, as you can hear them saying, we're just waiting for them to bid this time. As they're bidding this time,
PM Central Time.
it enables us to
And as you can see,
also wait
first
for this crew to be
phalanx
recovered,
of,
and the moment they're
recovery
recovered, we will
personnel
end this
now
live stream
pulling up alongside
that
of
we've
Integrity.
experienced together. We're entering into the holy hours of
This
the
includes,
Sabbath rest,
Navy
which is
divers
when
and Navy flight surgeon
Christians of the Seventh-day Adventist faith take time
and other
to
recovery personnel
rest
who have trained
and
for several years for this recovery process.
spend time with their creator. I spend this time normally to relax, to unwind, forget about the worries of this earth, and for a moment, just be, without any worry.
At this hour, some 41 minutes following splashdown, The vehicle has been powered down. There's no hazardous gas emanating from the vehicle. That's
As you heard there,
the first
Commander
team of recovery personnel
Reed Wiseman
been able to pull
did
alongside, Integrity.
give the Stable
The
1
reports continue to come
4
in
green
that the
crew
four
members,
astronauts are in excellent shape.
which is the code that we wanted to hear to say that the capsule is floating upright, the orientation is perfect, and all the 4 astronauts are healthy and safe after their 10-day journey, well, which, as we confirmed, is 9 days, 1 hour, and about 30 minutes. And as
Yes.
you are seeing now, you are seeing the Navy divers moving. They've cleared the area for toxic hydrazine. And like I told you, hydrazine is a very toxic fuel. This is the fuel that would have been used by the thrusters to right the capsule as it was re-entering or preparing for splashdown if the parachutes had not deployed. But since the parachutes deployed, it was not necessary for hydrazine to be used. And since there'd be no hydrazine leak, then we're just waiting for the hatch to open, and the front porch, of course, to have attached there. I'm just looking here to see if it is attached, just in case I missed it. And you can see that they're biding their time. You can see the MH-60Ss, flying there. This MH-60s being the helicopters that will bring back this crew to the USS John.
This is Mission Control Houston, continuing to watch the initiation of the recovery of Integrity's astronauts. One by one, they'll be brought out of the spacecraft onto a large inflatable raft just a short time from now. In the meantime, we can go back to the USS John P. Murtha, where my colleague Megan Cruz is standing by to provide her situation report. Megan, can you hear us?
So Megan has a report to give here.
Hey,
Just
Bob,
going to give the controls for a while.
We're back here on the bow of the recovery ship, where there are still plenty of people peering out into the water. We are not very far from the action everyone is seeing on their screen now. The Orion spacecraft, Integrity, in the ocean, surrounded by a number of recovery boats. As Rob has been saying, in those recovery boats, NASA and Navy personnel specifically trained to get the astronauts out of Orion. In some of our wide shots, you can probably see that there are 6 boats out in the water. More than 40 people out in the water right now on those boats.
Biding their time there before they can open the hatch.
First order of business is to set up the front porch and the stabilization collar. You might also hear it referred to as a stab collar. Basically just to make sure that Orion stays upright, doesn't sway in the water too much, again, to make it easier for recovery forces to get the astronauts out.
It would be interesting to know how these crew members are feeling.
Again, we splashed down
Are
in
they
this
tired?
location just after 5
Are they
p.m.
happy?
Pacific time here.
Are they
It's a
looking forward to
requirement,
meet their
by
families?
NASA to be able to
Are they
get
happy
the
to be
crew
back?
out of
Are they
Orion
sad to
within
have
2
left
hours
space?
of splashdown.
You know, when I think about it, is it possible that
Doing
I
great on
could take a
time
flight
so
to space
far.
to
Plenty of
escape
time.
my worries here on
No
Earth?
rush
I think that would be an
either.
extreme
I
way
was
of
speaking to
running away
NASA flight
from
surgeon Rick Schuring
my worries,
earlier in this
if it were.
broadcast, and he said to me, you know, no rush to get the crew out. Just want to make sure that they're feeling good, and whenever they're ready to take their step out of Orion and onto that large raft, the front porch, folks will be ready. And as there are mission audio loops in mission control in Houston, there is a mission
Looks
audio
like,
loop here on the ship. And it was just
I'm not sure if
reported
that's a
out that the
reflection
side hatch is open.
or the front hatch
Side
opening,
hatch of
or rather the,
integrity is open.
looks like they're open. I'm just gonna
You're getting these beautiful shots from our aerial
give you
assets.
this.
The ship itself, where I'm on, just 3,000 yards away.
That is the voice of Megan Cruz.
Again, plenty of people on the boat here, glued to the side closest to where they can see all this action. And again, with just 3,000 yards separating us, great views from the bow here.
You're probably not receiving this in high definition as I am here,
One of the Navy
but
personnel
it is
is about to get inside there.
a beautiful experience, you know, just seeing this,
In they go.
you know, seeing our friends
In total,
coming
4
back.
will go into Orion. So it'll be a little bit of a tight squeeze, but the goal is to have a recovery personnel with each astronaut assessing them.
When you think about this module,
Folks getting
or
closer
rather,
now.
when you compare the Orion
Again, that one
capsule
that's right up against Orion,
to the
those
Apollo
are
capsule
divers
that
that
were
will go
used in the
in
Apollo missions,
to the spacecraft to check on each of the astronauts.
this
These other
capsule is
boats
about
begin doing a
60%
number of things,
larger,
putting on that
giving
stabilization collar onto Orion,
these astronauts a little
building
bit
that
of
front
more
porch.
elbow space to, you know, a little bit of breathing
Eventually,
room
they will retrieve the
for them to
parachutes,
move around and,
as well as
you know,
tow
experience
Orion back to
experience
the
their
well deck
lives.
of the recovery ship here.
But that notwithstanding, it is an experience that tells you how, you know, capable we are as human to endure. We were thinking about it. The amount of
And so as
space
we wait
here
for
is
the Navy and NASA
pretty
personnel
small,
to
pretty tight.
get their
And right about
assessment
now,
of the crew inside of Orion,
you know, there
why don't we toss it
are
back to Rob for
crew
an update.
members
Yeah, thank
who
you,
are
Megan.
going in to
Here
check on
Mission
the
Control,
actual crew
Flight
members
Director
in
Rick
here to
Hensling
make
and
sure
the
that they are
entry
all
team of
okay.
flight controllers still on duty.
So when you think about
the
it,
vehicle has been powered down for some time now. There are no hazardous gases emanating from integrity. That, of course, allowed
this is such
the
a great
recovery
experience.
personnel to approach the vehicle and then open the hatch to begin the initial medical assessment of the crew, as you just indicated. Now we're standing by for the erection of that inflatable raft, the front porch, alongside of the vehicle that will enable the crew to be extracted one by one onto the raft, have a moment or two to get their land legs back before they're hoisted into 2 hovering Navy helicopters, 2 crew members for each helicopter, for a short flight back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha. all of Integrity's systems operated flawlessly throughout the course of the approach to the Earth, the entry into the Earth's atmosphere, and all of the key milestones that followed in this high-speed return to Earth for Integrity. A mission that spanned more than 694,000 miles from the vehicle's launch from the Kennedy Space Center atop the Space Launch System back on April 1st.
When you think about it, as much as this capsule is pretty small, when you are in space and you are experiencing microgravity, you can literally use any of those surfaces as a floor and push yourself around. And if you have had the opportunity to have a look at, I believe it's The Martian, where the crew members of the Artemis shuttle are going back to Mars to meet up with the astronaut who had been left there by mistake after they thought that he died. You can see them kind of gliding through the Artemis, the entire space shuttle. They're just gliding through, and that is a proper representation of what an experience of microgravity would be. And so, another fun fact,
as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast,
that I've never been able to really wrap my head around is this concept of time dilation.
Program saw
so
splashdown
apparently,
in the Pacific was Apollo 17 back on December 19th, 1972. So for the first
greater
time
the gravity
in 54,
you experience,
53.5 years, we have reenacted
the slower
that with the arrival of Integrity's
the time
astronauts
moves for
as
you.
they flew around the moon.
The faster you move,
lunar flyby,
the slower
with a trans-lunar
time moves
injection
for
burn
you.
That took them out of Earth
And
orbit following 24 hours of
so
a high Earth orbit
when you think
trajectory.
about
High Earth orbit
the
trajectory enabled
extreme
flight controllers
gravity
here
around
to
black
have a full
holes,
24 hours to evaluate the
and that
systems
gravity
on
really pulling
Integrity
on you,
and the condition
it
of the
basically
crew
stops
before
time,
they would
kind
commit
of
to
warps
flying
time,
to the
takes
moon.
time off course, and you end up experiencing time differently. Of course, these are experiences that we'll probably never experience because, of course, the moment you are experiencing the pull of the gravity of a black hole, you're basically going to be pulled into the black hole. You're going to be spaghettified, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson. So you basically wouldn't feel a thing, you wouldn't see a thing, you wouldn't see anything, and you wouldn't see yourself living shorter. But when you bring it back closer here, and when you think about the International Space Station, I'm not sure if I missed something here, but when you think about the International Space Station, which is basically about 400 kilometers away from the surface of the Earth, you are also moving fast, and so time is moving slowly for you. Because you're moving so fast, time is moving slowly for you. And so apparently the guys who have gone to the space station end up, for every 6 months that we spend, they leave 0.007 seconds less than we have lived, which makes them 0.07 seconds 0.007 seconds younger. Interesting fact. Of course, they never noticed it because it's in microseconds. You can't really explain that. But looks like something is happening here. We can see the technical crew who are checking up on the individual crew members there. on the open hatch of the Integrity space capsule there. Of course, they've stabilized it. Looks like they've stabilized it. It's not moving around a lot. And this stabilization enables the capsule to be investigated better. And of course, any maneuvers that are going to be carried out inside the capsule, are carried out okay. We've been running this stream now for about 2.5 hours. When I started this out, I didn't think it was going to be this long. Of course, I knew that at 5 or 7 p.m. Pacific time, we were going to touch down, or rather splash down, and that would be the end of it.
With the
it looks like
side hatch of Orion
it's taken
been opened
a little bit longer
for
as
the
they
erection
are
of the inflatable life raft,
looking at
known as the
the
front porch, to be erected alongside the spacecraft
the
for the
situation
of the crew.
Of the crew members
for you an interview that,
of the
my
Integrity
colleague
space
Megan
capsule.
Cruz conducted on the USS John P. Murtha with Navy diver First Class David McMahon that explains how this process is unfolding.
Okay, Davey, so you and some of your team, one last look over of the stabilization collar.
I'm just going to move over to Davis McMahon here so that he can explain what's going on.
We don't know how good the weather or the waves will be that day, so this will help prevent any unnecessary occurrences from happening, stabilizing the capsule and the astronauts inside.
So basically this is a float that will go around Orion. I'm assuming that what they're doing right now, these are the lines that will attach the collar onto Orion?
That is correct.
And so what are they doing here?
So we've got the lower line that will secure the inflation device before we inflate it. That gives us the go-ahead that it's secure in its place, and then we'll inflate it, and then once that is done, we'll undo all the carabiners and get this orange line on top tied in the same fashion, and then this will be secured to the capsule, and the astronauts can safely take their first steps out of the capsule onto the front porch.
Okay, and how long will it take them to set up the stabilization collar?
We should definitely be able to handle this in under 10 minutes.
Okay, wow. And then you just mentioned the front porch. So basically, after they set up the stabilization collar, then they set up what's called the front porch here.
That's correct.
Okay, and what's the front porch?
Front porch is basically a bigger waiting room for the astronauts to sit in while we wait for the helicopters to show up and grab them.
Okay, so the medical team that was inside with the crew, they're going to help them out and onto the front porch?
That is correct.
And then what happens here?
We have hired trained medical personnel also on board the front porch that will give them lookovers to make sure they're okay while we wait for the helicopters to show up.
Okay. How does it feel, I mean, your team, you, to be part of a mission that's returning astronauts from the moon in more than 50 years?
We all feel extremely honored to be a part of this, as well as a bigger mission for the Navy and joining up with NASA to do great things.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like you and your team are ready?
Yes, very ready.
Cool. All right, thank you so much.
Yep.
Of course, when you think about, Davis McMahon, you see how excited he is, to be part of this, to make sure that, the retrieval is done safely. And the amount of safety procedures that are carried out here are quite inspirational and quite amazing.
A number of flight controllers have come into the flight control room to receive congratulations from Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling, but we're going to stick with our operations out of the Pacific as we await the extraction of the 4 crew members who are reported to be in excellent condition.
Of course, the command center of this entire mission was based in Houston, Texas. The recovery of this capsule, Orion,
Again,
is
while we stand by for that
being
front
done,
porch, to be
close to San
erected
Diego in the
alongside
Pacific.
of the side hatch of the vehicle. Let's go back to the USS John P. Murtha and Megan Cruz. Megan?
Megan Cruz has something here for us from the USS John P. Murtha.
Hey, Rob. Pausing now to listen to some internal audio loops. Again, the operations team here on the ship communicating with everyone out on the water. It seems like currents are hindering them a little bit from unfurling and inflating the stabilization collar as well as the front porch. But again, the requirement to get the crew out within 2 hours of splashdown, plenty of time. So no concerns just yet. But as calm as the water looks...
Oh, like I said earlier, when you think about inclusivity that has gone into this mission, I think NASA outdid itself. You know, they had many firsts here.
Still open.
When you think about...
Inside, there are now 8 people inside.
When you think about each of these crew members here,
Navy divers, all with medical training, each
you know,
assigned to an astronaut each.
It is really, really amazing. Because we had Christina Koch here, the first
feeling good
woman who was, traveled so far away from Earth. We had the first person of color, Victor Glover.
They
we had
a little bit of discomfort. Again, these astronauts just traveled
Reed Wiseman,
back to Earth at 25,000 miles an hour.
The oldest individual to have, traveled to the moon. As well as Canadian, the first Canadian to travel to the moon as well here, Jeremy Hansen, mission specialist as well.
Lots of gear with them.
Each of these individuals, of course, have participated in various categories of their life, either as pilots, as scientists, as researchers. And for instance, Jeremy Hansen was a member of the Royal Canadian Air Cadets from when he was 12 years old. And
while out there in the water.
This can probably show you how important, sometimes,
you see now,
being a member of the Royal Air Cadets can be important.
The stabilization collar and front porch.
So as you can see, the stabilization collar is being set up there. It will stabilize.
They need both, right? The stabilization
the
collar to keep
capsule so it doesn't
move
around. At the same time, we're also going to set up the front porch, which is
and then they will connect
the inflatable life raft that will enable the retrieval of this individual. I would imagine, man, after being cramped in this small space for 7 days, you must be pretty tired. Also, apart from being pretty tired, your bones experience, your bones being in so much microgravity, they will tend to experience this sort of
not a lot of chatter on the mission audio.
Loss, mass loss.
Again,
and so that is why they had this gym or rather exercise machine on board, which would mimic some sort of lifting of weights or rowing exercise, and this enables them to continuously exercise so that they don't lose so much bone mass. It's interesting,
in the front porch,
when that happens.
Get placed into harnesses so that 2 helicopters can lift them off the front porch and onto the USS John Murtha here.
I wonder what the temperature of the waters here is.
Turns picking up an astronaut. So again, Hilo 1 and Hilo 2.
Because every time I've been in the Pacific, the waters of the Pacific have always been cold. And so they're 18 degrees Celsius here, according to the reports from the National Weather Service. And the air is reported to be about 17 degrees Celsius, 63 Fahrenheit, 64 Fahrenheit, which is probably bearable.
All 4 members are green. All of our 4 astronauts, Reed, Victor, Christina, Jeremy, green, meaning they are feeling great, not the complexion of their skin. They are feeling great. happy to be home and ready to be extracted as soon as possible. And so, as I was saying, we have
as
two
the
helicopters circling.
taikonauts
The activity you're seeing
are headed off
right now.
to
Each will take turns
to
picking up an astronaut.
Mars.
So Helo 1 will come on in.
Of
hover
course,
above the front porch,
the
about 40
Americans don't want to be left
feet
behind as
above the
well,
front porch.
and they've set up a bunch of
The
missions to
Navy
Mars as well
recovery
to go and
specialists
set
will
up
be
base there.
hoisted down into the front porch.
And when you think about it, the reason why
To the first
we went to the
astronaut, which
moon in the first
we're
place,
expecting to be
or rather the
Christina.
Americans went to the moon in the first place, was because they were
And then Helo
competing.
2 comes
They were
around,
competing
picks up Jeremy,
with
while
the
Helo 1
Soviets.
stays above head.
The Soviets
And
had
then
so
Helo
many
1 will come
fasts,
back
so
in
many
for
things they
another
did.
astronaut, and then
So
Helo
they
2
were
for
they were the
last
first
astronaut, and then back to the
people
flight
to
deck
put
here on the recovery ship.
a man into orbit. I think his name Yuri Gagarin, probably. You probably read all about him. So they put
Assistant
first man in
Artemis
space,
Recovery
put the
Director
first
Paul
dog in
Sierpinski.
space. Unfortunately, that
Sierpinski.
dog burnt up on re-entry.
He said
There's a name
Helos
for the
are a
dog. I
much
forget the name
quicker,
of the
safer
dog.
way to get on board. They did
I
actually
think they also
consider
put the
boats,
first
but then if you
satellite
think about it,
up in
longer
space.
time, the
And
crew would have to move through more of
they
the
were
ship.
so focused.
This way, the Helo,
They were able to do a
the
bunch of
Helos
things,
will
and
give a
so
more
the
direct,
Americans
quicker
are
route
inspired. Hey,
to the medical bay.
because of this space
for
race and the
astronauts.
Cold War that was going on, the Americans decided, hey, we are gonna beat you guys. And Kennedy, or JF Kennedy,
Beautiful shots from our
reportedly
aerial
said
and
that
imagery
we gotta
teams.
put, before the end of the decade, we gotta put a man on the moon. And for sure, before the end of the 60s,
Clouds have dissipated for a clear view
Buzz
from
Aldrin,
the bow of the recovery
Neil
ship
Armstrong,
here.
they walk out of the lander and step on the moon lander and step on the moon and set up a flag over there, etc., etc. And of course, over the span of the next, is it 3 years, so 69 to 72, there was many other missions as well. I think up to 24 people did walk on the moon. Of course, we don't hear about these
They
other
still see
people
divers in the water
because,
there.
hey, we have Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong who already did this. And
Encircling
poor Michael Collins.
Orion.
So
That
when
stabilization collar we've been telling you about.
the landing capsule leaves the orbiting capsule, so the
As you
orbiting
saw in that
capsule
interview just
has
few
a
minutes
pilot
ago,
in there. And so
they
Michael
have to
Collins,
first connect it to Orion.
I'm not sure
And
if
then
he was
once it's
Australian
secured
or
onto
if he
Orion, they
relocated
can
to
inflate
Australia,
it.
because I recently saw
And
him in
then
60
they'll
Minutes Australia,
further
and he
secure
spoke
it
with an
other
Australian
harnesses
accent,
and lines.
and so I thought he's Australian. And so this gentleman had to stay back orbiting around the moon as Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong are having all the fun hopping around the surface of the moon and playing with regolith. Regolith is the name that is given
About an
to
hour and 10
the
minutes
sand
since Splashdown
that is on
in
the moon.
Pacific Ocean
I guess
here.
the sand on Earth is also called regolith, but we never really call it that. And so the sand on the moon, however, is very dangerous because it's very silky, very glassy, and so it tends to break things up. But anyways, I digress.
Back home
And so the
after a
Americans put the first man on the moon,
back.
and they do amazing things there. And in 1972, Apollo 17, last mission to the moon, hey, we no longer need to go to the moon. And so, of course, there have been many people who've said that, we never went to the moon, we would never beat the Van Allen belt, which is a belt of radiation. There's two belts of radiation that encapsulate the Earth. Rather, they encapsulate the Earth, yes, before you get to the moon. And they are as a result of solar winds, from the sun. And so when you think about it, people are always asking, hey, why are we not going back to the moon? Why are we not going back to the moon? Of course, there's no motivation to go back to the moon. Why didn't you go back to the moon? The Russians are not interested to go back to the moon anymore. And so we are fine. So the reason we went to the moon, or the Americans, I don't know why I say we, but the reason why the Americans went to the moon in the first place is because the Russians were beating them at everything. The Russians had a very interesting mission to Venus. So the Americans were never interested to go to Venus.
Again, more than 40
And you know, remember those first that we said the Russians put the first man in orbit, first satellite in orbit, first, many firsts. So they were also the first guys to land in Venus.
About 4 hours.
They went over there, but they realized there's nothing there. Venus has a very heavy atmosphere. So when you are dropping into Venus, so first of all, Venus is very, very hot. I think they say that the surface is about 400 degrees Celsius. I might be wrong on that though. And then the atmosphere is as heavy as if you were 1 kilometer into the depth of the ocean here on Earth. And so therefore that experience is very, very extreme. And so when you think about it, there's no motivation to go back to the moon anymore. And then years go by. And then suddenly we're going back to the moon. Why is NASA going back to the moon? Now I can say we because the Canadian Space Agency is also in there. So why are we going back to the moon? Remember the first reason we went back to the moon? Geopolitics. So geopolitics is still in play right now.
Recovery personnel getting on to that collar.
So let's go back here for a moment. But the geopolitics, in summary, the geopolitics is based off of, China putting their technonauts on the moon and running a Mars mission and setting up a base in the south and in the south pole of the moon.
So it doesn't sway so much in the water there.
So this stabilization capsule has been set up here, and this stabilization.
And now that front porch looks like it's nearly fully inflated as well. You can see a much larger surface area. And so once the crew get out of Orion, they can stretch their legs a little bit on this front porch, get some fresh air.
So anytime now, the crew will be coming off of Orion
and enjoy this beautiful day here on their home planet.
And as we just saw there, the temperatures, wonderful temperature, 17 degrees Celsius, there are 63 degrees Fahrenheit. Or
it appears teams now are about to connect,
and the water is at 18 degrees Celsius. So it's a beautiful experience, a beautiful day out here in San Diego today.
And at that point, when both are secure, we should soon see astronauts come out of Orion. All these views you see also being fed to the Landing Force Operations Center here on the ship. Of course, it is very important for our recovery teams leading the mission.
These individuals
that you're seeing as well
being recovered here, as we can see. And yes, Jeff, I do agree.
Again, listening to their communication.
I'm not Canadian Navy or military, but I know that you are. So, and I like your comment here that you, the Canadian Navy, stroke the Canadian military in whole, are so proud of your very own astronaut, Colonel Jeremy Hansen being the first Canadian and the first and non-American to venture into deep space. I'm pretty sure it must be a beautiful day for all the members of the Canadian military out there to have a member of their team experience such an amazing trip to the depths of space, round the moon, and take a slingshot of the moon's gravity and be shot back to the Earth. Amazing physics at play, amazing engineering at play. Of course, you know, useful data has been brought back that we're going to learn from, and probably it's going to inform our future missions to space as well.
From one of the personnel on the front porch, it looks like they are now getting ready to.
I'm just going to pause here for a moment.
They call the Air Rescue Vest, ARV. And so this is
some of these terms are pretty foreign to me as well. Apparently there's an air rescue vest.
In order to be hoisted into the helicopters. Again, those helicopters hovering just about 40 feet above the front porch when they're ready to pick up each crew member.
And like I said, this is a beautiful experience here. As you can see, if you just joined us, this is a live stream of the splashdown of the Integrity, which is the name that was given to the Orion capsule, which is aboard Artemis 2 mission to the moon. The flyby that was done around the moon by 4 crew members, 3 from the National Space Agency, or NASA, and 1 from the Canadian Space Agency by the name of Jeremy Hansen. It is an amazing experience to experience these individuals do this, you know, go around the moon and come back to Earth all in one piece, capsule in one piece, all communications working perfectly. I think the only thing that failed to work for them momentarily was their toilet. I think in day 2, the toilet was frozen. One of the ducts in the toilet was frozen and they couldn't expel urine or solid waste.
This
and
is Mission Control Houston.
Somehow they were able to figure it out.
A fairly raucous scene as hundreds of flight controllers have poured into the flight control room here. This is reminiscent of the scene after the final shuttle mission of STS-135, although that was the end of a program. This is only the beginning.
I'm going to try and get this image from Mission Control in Houston.
Of Integrity and its 4 astronauts. We're standing by for the crew to be extracted from the spacecraft. Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling invited all of these flight controllers who have contributed to this mission to enter the flight control room to have an opportunity to receive well wishes and to share the mutual glow that exists in the wake of a textbook mission for Integrity. On the front screen here in Mission Control, a sign that says welcome home Integrity.
Just gonna pull up Artemis 2 live and see what's going on here.
So all of that,
of course, there's a bunch of many other fellow
even as we await the crew
interesting
extracted from the vehicle to be hoisted onto Navy helicopters for the trip back to the USS John P. Murtha.
Individuals who are following this up as well. And so this stream is different. I'm gonna try and find a different stream here. So I think I got something here. This can probably show us whatever is going on inside the mission. Gotta turn off this chat here.
Once again here in Mission Control.
There you go.
View of the
think they brought it back
Flight
before I could
Control Room,
even,
known as the White Flight
before I
Control
needed to
Room.
do
This
it.
is the old shuttle flight control room, and now is the home of Artemis missions.
This has
to
been
moon
the
and beyond.
individuals who have been making sure that our flight crew were able to get to space and come back
Rick Henfling
all in
to
one
share
piece.
in the jubilation following the successful splashdown of Integrity. That splashdown occurring an hour and 22 minutes ago, as we stand by for the completion of the extraction of the crew, and ultimately they're hoisting on.
And of course,
Navy helicopters
if we just get a view from the International Space Station here for just a quick second to show you how things are quiet up there.
Central Time. I had an opportunity to talk to the head of Flight Dynamics, Jeff Birch, a moment or two ago. He said the trajectory of Integrity coming through the Earth's atmosphere was so precise, they've never seen anything line up on a ground track like today's entry by Integrity for its splashdown southwest of San Diego.
And over here, I'm just sharing a view from the International Space Station right now as it's flying across the globe. And you can see it there.
And the initial, you can hear it.
Looks like the individuals are out. Yep. They're coming out, folks. An opportunity for me to clap for them as well. Yeah, let's turn off this second seat.
Jubilation here in the flight control room. The first crew member is out of Integrity.
First crew member is out. Just not sure who it is, but probably get a report soon.
We are expecting the other crew members momentarily to be extracted.
Anytime now, the other crew members will be coming out.
We now have
Looks like we got a second one.
Two crew members out, 2 to go.
Yep. 2 more members to go. Just gonna take a moment here as well to...
We're about 1 hour from sunset out in the Pacific. Everything continues to go well. Integrity's systems function perfectly during its entry back to Earth. And Reed Wiseman, the commander who will be last out of the vehicle, reported that all the crew members were feeling very well.
So I gotta figure this out. Okay. So there we go. Crew member number 3 is out. Yep.
And now standing by for the commander, Reed Wiseman, who will be last out of his ship. Bobbing in the Pacific under almost ideal conditions, Integrity spanned 694,000 miles during its journey from launch to splashdown.
We're just waiting on Commander Reed Wiseman to step out.
And we now have Reed Wiseman out of the vehicle, all 4 crew members now out of integrity.
Yep. I'm just gonna share here some footage of these individuals leaving Earth to them coming back. You can see this was a bunch of days ago, about 9 days ago, just before they left. And now they are back safe on Earth. What an achievement,
Once again,
folks.
all 4 crew members now on the front porch. And the
I think
procedure
this
to begin hoisting them up to these 2 Navy helicopters
one of
overhead
man's
shortly.
greatest achievements ever. You know, being able to do this, go into space, and come back all in one piece. And you can see mission control here, all the excitement. The video being shared here on the side is from the first day as they were about to take off when the boosters were ignited and our friends lifted off and went into space. It has been an incredible 9 days with them cramped up in a very small space, and just seeing them come back safely after being aboard the Orion space shuttle and coming back safely. I think it's no mean feat. And I'm just sharing this footage here for you to see what it's like on day 0. And just seeing them recovered
This
from,
is Mission Control Houston.
you know, from Splashdown right now, it's just a big achievement.
We should be expecting NASA's Associate Administrator, Amit Kshatriya, to be joining us shortly for a short interview while the recovery operations continue out in the Pacific. So we'll stand by for that. And then we'll turn it back over to Megan Cruz aboard the USS John P. Murtha.
And you can see at the top right there, you can still see the, you know, the first day of launch. So folks, I think there's been an extremely rewarding event watching these individuals take off from Earth, experience deep space, experience the farthest region of the moon, and then come back here all safe and sound. Not a mean achievement. Of course, a win for humanity, a win for everyone involved here, a win for you, and a win for me as well. A bunch of key tests have been carried out here. A bunch of wonderful research has happened, you know, on their journey to the moon. Of course, this gives an opportunity for us to prepare for that heavenward journey. Of course, our experience will be different, but nonetheless, it will be a beautiful one. We had beautiful commentators here today that I'm just going to shout out. Rob Navias was a commentator, a veteran NASA commentator. He's always been referred to as the voice of mission control. And of course, marveled as the, and when you listen to him, they marveled at the descent as they came down to a perfect descent. And we had Megan Cruz as well, who was on aboard, you know, the John P. Murtha, the USS John P. Murtha there. And I think
successful end of
this has
mission
been
that carried
a
4
beautiful
astronauts
experience.
around
My
the moon
name
on a
is
lunar
Joab
flyby,
Ogato.
and the
I have
first
been
test flight
your
of
host
Orion
here
with crew
from
members on
Mission
board.
Control
Splashdown occurring
in my
an
small
hour and
studio,
32 minutes
making
ago
sure that you
after a
had
flawless
an amazing
descent back into
experience
the Earth's atmosphere
as
for the
this
vehicle.
mission
Its
was
4 crew members in good shape,
happening, as
simply
these
enjoying,
individuals were
their
touching
time
down.
right now on the front porch,
And
as it were,
this
the
has been a
inflatable
wonderful
raft
experience. I've really
alongside of
enjoyed
their
this,
Integrity
and it is my
spacecraft.
hope that you enjoy this as well. If you
We're
haven't yet,
expecting
go
Amish
and
Shatria,
subscribe to the
NASA
Couch
Associate
Connect,
Administrator,
our
to
YouTube
join us
channel.
here
Follow us on
momentarily for a
our
brief interview
socials
before
on
we turn it
Instagram,
back
the
over
Couch
to main
Connect,
crews aboard the
at
USS John
Ogato
P.
J,
Mazza, the
which is what I
recovery
go
ship.
by. We will really appreciate it because that is how you support us to continue bringing you this amazing events as they happen across the globe. Till next time, do take care. Kwaheri.